Namaskar. Coming live to you from Ganeshot, Klaus, and P Gurus. The three good generals are here with us, and we're going to talk about a very important topic. It's a geopolitical perspective as well as the political undercurrents that are happening. Let's welcome the three good generals: General Ravi Shankar, General Rajiv Narayanan, and General Dushyant Singh. Welcome to P Gurus channel, sir. How are you?
Thanks
Thanks
you,
a
and
lot.
we're fine.
Thank you.
So,
Always an
viewers,
honor to be on your show.
thank you so much, sir. This viewers, I have to tell you this. It is at the initiative of General Ravi Shankar's Ganeshot program that this is possible. And anytime the generals have time, they will be on this. We are trying to make this like a reference, video of sorts for people to understand where exactly things are. No fears, no favors, and it's what you get. And that's how I would like to keep this thing going. General Ravi Shankar, as always, the first word from you, sir.
Well, thanks a lot, CIRG, for giving me the first tee off. Look, in the past 2 months, from ever since April 22nd, Pahalgam incident, a lot has changed. We've had a war with Pakistan. There's been a war in Iran, and a lot of things have changed. A lot of equations have changed. The threats which we perceived earlier are actually no more the same threats. That's the way I look at it. The threats have morphed. I mean, country China and Pakistan have remained where they are, but I think things have changed. Things have changed for many reasons. One is India has emerged very strong out of this entire past 3 months. Look at Pakistan. It's still smarting under the defeat it suffered in Op Sindoor. China by now has started smarting under the complete marginalization in Op Sindoor to a large extent. In fact, it's a loser in Op Sindoor as also in Iran. I think that the performance of China militarily and diplomatically and geopolitically has been absolutely, bottom of the barrel. We thought it was a superpower, but it's nowhere near that. So things have changed, right? But there's a high level of collusivity between the two. They still remain our adversaries, and things like that. And we have to realize that our equation with Pakistan has changed considerably, and so with China. And the next war will not be the same as Op Sindoor, or for that matter, what happened in Iraq. Will be far different, and for that we don't know. It is in this context that I thought, when in the morning we were discussing, I said, who's the bigger threat? We all know in the long-term threat is China, short-term threat is Pakistan. But in the past, say, 1 year, we've been undermining this Pakistan threat. Oh, Pakistan is there. What can it do? And, it's the Chinese threat we have to focus on. Yeah, we did it. We were almost caught out of balance. But, well, India being India, our armed forces being armed forces, a strong government, we've not lost the balance. So what I'll do is, to set the stage, I'll put a few issues across, which I'm sure General Dushyant and General Rajiv will comment on, and they'll dilate it. But I'll put the facts. Look at Pakistan. Look at his Munir speech today. He's still, his heart beats in Kashmir, right? And the way he's spoken. They're back in the US lab, right? Both these things are not good portents. They feel that they're safe being in the US lab, and that US will protect them to some extent. Okay. They feel that they've imposed a restraint on India by being with the US. That's their thinking. You can't stop it from. Then this, we've gone into an era of non-contact battle. Non-contact battle is a new phenomenon for everyone. You can operate under the nuclear threshold. At the same time, you don't have to go, on ground and do the ground offensive. Non-contact. Non-contact offers wide spaces for both countries. You can do what you want. Pakistan didn't realize what it could do, It focused on something else. It didn't have the strength probably. But it definitely will, there is thinking in Pakistan of how to utilize this space. And they will come out with something because they're, let's be very fact, let's be very frank, they're quite an inventive people on this issue. In warfare, they're quite inventive. They're not fools. Okay. And then, of course, Pakistan has this great space in religion. Through religion, it can not only go up to the hinterlands of Kashmir, but also to the rest of India, and also indirectly through Bangladesh. And we have to consider all this in the fact that the military budget of Pakistan has increased, and its economy remains weak, but it doesn't matter. IWT is there; they're already taking some steps. Whatever the steps are, they're competitive about it. And overall, they're not. If you see the tone of sentiment which is coming out of, or the tone of language which is coming out of Pakistan, they're still, belligerent. And with American help, that belligerence can be turned into action. And remember, with Pakistan, it doesn't matter you defeat them. Every defeat inflicted on them politically binds them. That's something which we have to understand. That, there's no military solution to Pakistan. So that's where we are. It's a naughty problem, whether you like it or not. Let's look at China. Now, you have to look at China in the fact that, look, in Op Sindoor, its equipment gave way. It was not prepared to come in the forefront, but it gave complete support to Pakistan otherwise. And the reports coming out of China are that it's going to give more support to Pakistan because it can't afford to lose Pakistan. But having said that, it has lost half of Pakistan to America. That's the biggest loss for China and Pakistan. And plus, it has been completely marginalized in USA. In Iran. To the extent that it could not even do anything militarily to protect its interests. There's an open question which I'd like to ask everyone. Xi Jinping gave out a 4-point proposal to get peace in Iran. Who read it? Who even knows what is there in it? That was the irrelevance of China in this whole story. So if that was the irrelevance of China, and if China has to become relevant all over again, will it do something against India? It could be political, it could be diplomatic, it could be military. I'm not going to this thing. They might start saying, okay, let's teach India a lesson. Right. But what China has exhibited it prefers the indirect route. It will help through the indirect route rather than going directly. And a weak China, politically weak, a militarily weak China with the kind of purges which are going on. As of yesterday, the chief of chief of staff of PLA Navy has also been sacked. There's a nuclear scientist also being sacked. And the news about 2-3 more generals who are being sacked. So there's a weakness. There's a political instability in China, and military instability and economic weakness. So will China now become aggressive against India directly, or will it use the indirect method? Will it use the economic method, the way they are now, squeezing on fertilizers, the way they're squeezing on magnets? So are you going to see a different threat pattern from China? Right? But we have to remember, China still needs India. If there's a hope and China sees an opportunity where they see America haven't been spurned India, they see an opportunity not to let go of this opportunity, and they're operating through Russia. Because Russia, Lavrov has come up and said Russia, India, China cooperation and all that. And to some extent, I go with them because there is value in us to, I wouldn't say toe, but to use the RIC line. It's a tool to offset USA because that's a different dynamic. I'm speaking about it tomorrow morning. So can it afford a fight with India? What if it loses? Even if it takes up a fight with India, what if it loses? As it is, its reputation is in the dirt. And if even it is seen to be losing with India, it's gone. There'll be a huge internal cascade of it. So these are the issues. So for and against, China being your main threat, Pakistan being your main threat, or rather the immediate adversary. See, these are the issues which we have to do. But in all cases, be rest assured, we're going to have a collusive threat. The degree of collusivity, who will collude with whom, under what conditions is something. But overall, our threat perception and the way we have to respond has to change. It can't be the old matrix anymore. I thought I just put all these issues across, which we could debate going forward. Yeah, I've done, and we'll over to the others, please.
General Dushyant Singh, you probably woke up to this title because I didn't give you much time to consider about it. Your initial thoughts, sir?
Well, I did wake up to the title, but I have been writing about it. I had an article yesterday only, just prepared it, and it is likely to get published tomorrow. And it was actually on China. And when you discuss China, you discuss Pakistan. I mean, that's a given. So what I'm trying to hint at is that there are 5 6 things which are critical to us as far as the threat to India is concerned. I think my take is totally different in the sense that I now see it as one threat. It's neither
Okay.
China nor Pakistan. It's one threat, combined and collusive in nature. Yes, the degree of threat coming from China may vary based on the situation, based on the incident, based on the event. So, one thing we should get it very clear is that we are going to face a combined threat. If that be the case, there is an immediacy of threat as far as Pakistan is concerned, and there is a persistence as far as China is concerned. So these are uh, two ends of the threats which we have to take care of. So there is a immediate threat and there is a long-term persistent threat, and both in both the eventualities, both will come against us in whatever form or in whatever state Pakistan exists in the future. China definitely will exist, whether it is under the regime of Xi Jinping or he gets thrown out, as more and more indications of such a eventuality is coming across. Because you see, initially he was trying to sort out his opponents, and subsequently what he has now started doing is he's now sorting out his confidence, the guys who actually helped him in moving up, which means that he has stopped trusting anyone. And when you have such a situation where you even have distrust or mistrust to your, I mean, of your right hand and left hand, then I think that person is in a great danger of being displaced. And that's what, to me, it looks like. That is the tone and tenor of my article, which I finished yesterday. The next thing is, I feel that Munir has still not come out of his delusion, given the way he has given the statement in the Naval Academy, where he congratulated all the Naval Academy midshipmen and short service officers who were going commissioned. Uh, Surprisingly, there were, and he specifically complimented the foreign officers, and they were from Turkey, Bahrain, Iraq, Palestine, and Djibouti. Right. So we have to read something out there. But what is most important thing which came out was in Arabic voice tone, not really in Arabic as such, but in that tone when he spoke about the verse 249 of Surah Baqarah, which explains in English is, how often has it happened that a small number defeated a large number by the command of Allah, and the Allah is with those who are patient. Kashmir is not terrorism. Kashmir is a legitimate fight, legal fight for independence, and our prayers are with the Kashmir brethren. What are we getting indications of? That this man is still looking for opportunities to ensure that Pakistan army remains the central figure in Pakistan. Why I'm saying so? Look at the incidents which have happened in the last week. 3 to 4 major attacks, terror attacks have taken place in KKP as well as in Baluchistan, resulting in loss of lives. It seems to be that he's not even mentioning about them, which means that possibly he's now putting all his eggs in one basket, and that is Kashmir, and somehow try to centralize the focus of the entire Pakistani nations towards India, so that his own internal problems are all diffused in this kind of a thing. So there is a danger of a Op Sindoor type of a action taking place. It will not be repeated. It will not be the same, but something like that happening very soon. And my take is maybe 4 to 5 months is what we might see. Something like that happening. I may be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. If you just want to know the incidents, it was, I mean, I'm sure you would have got it. It was like June 25, Jacobabad railway track targeted by blast causing derailment of Zafar Express, KPK. 28 June, suicide attack on Mir Ali, North Waziristan, resulted in killing of 16 soldiers and
At
8
least,
injured. Say again? Did you say something?
at least 16. So they are underquoting
Yeah,
the number. If you look at
yeah,
the
yeah.
intensity of the blast, they are way underquoting the number. Sir, over to
Uh,
you.
yeah. So what I'm trying to say is that it is, like the ostrich approach. I have my, sorry for the unparliamentary word, I have my ass burning, but I still want to look in front and try to create problems somewhere else. That seems to be Munir's entire philosophy of going ahead, going away in the future. As far as the overall threat matrix is concerned, I feel that the other issue which General Shankar has raised in China, I see a transactional opportunity. Although he did mention that RIC is a tool which we can exploit, and I think I agree with him there that China in the current scenario where Pakistan is trying to play the double game of keeping the Chinese as well as the US guys on some kind of a balance, it is not likely to pay off, and so therefore we may see some opportunities coming as far as the Chinese angle is concerned. We should take it only as a transactional opportunity and not as any kind of a long term friendship, because the Chinese themselves, as you know, cannot be trusted. They don't even consider agreements as really agreements, and they talk of others following agreements and international rules. They have blasted all our 5 agreements which we had on the issue of peace and tranquility along the line of actual control. So we should treat them with a barge pole, taking opportunities as they come and moving forward. But where I think we should put our money very, very seriously would be that we need to have the Russians on board with us. Although the Russians have shown a little bit of neutrality as far as Sindoor is concerned, but I think that is tactical, that is understandable because of their own problems which they are facing, and they need the Chinese at this point in time for sustaining their part of the war. As far as Iran is concerned, I think the Iranian situation is a little complicated for India. We need to, in my view, this is my personal view, that we need to maintain our relations with Israel so that we do have some kind of a some kind of a hard power support. It is not in terms of somebody trying to help us or physically, but it is more in terms of trying to move forward our capabilities development, which is in terms of defense production, development of weapon systems, etc. Besides the indigenous factor for the immediate threat, I think there is a need for us to have some kind of an external threat, external cooperation and partnership as well. And in this case, Russia and Israel are probably our best bet. As far as America is concerned, I don't think the Americans are going to do anything where technology transfer is required, and this is on based on my personal experience which I had there in the US, where I felt that every time they were asking me, why do you insist on technology transfer? So obviously we have to use the American support again in a transactional manner. We should build upon it. I'm not saying that we should neglect that. Another factor which has come out loud and clear here is the friends and foes of India. Turkey, Azerbaijan, these are the countries which we need to be very, very careful in the future. Unlikely that they will they will in any form, not even in a diplomatic form, they are going to actually support us. And I can go on ad lib, but what I would like to end here with is that, you know, the whole idea of future now has to be built on the fact that immediacy of threat needs to be addressed. Long term threat also needs to be addressed, but the approach to immediacy of threat may have to be somewhat multi-domain, in the sense that we have to use all our tools of warfare on the table and try to get out of it. The Chinese, as far as they are concerned, I don't think they have the willpower at this stage to involve themselves conventionally in any kind of a conflict with India. It will remain an indirect approach. So let's become masters of indirect approach. Why are we hesitating? If somebody is trying to win the war in the name of Sun Tzu, that, you know, it is better to subdue the general without fighting, so we should also subdue their current general Xi Jinping without fighting, through whatever means we have. And we have, let me tell you, we have a lot of leverages. I'm going for a meeting on the 30th of June of one of such things which can become, although we as a nation are not doing it, but it is my belief that we need to exploit all our leverages with China: direct, indirect, kinetic, non-kinetic. Kinetic, as of now, there may not be a requirement, but definitely non-kinetic must be on the table, and non-contact. As far as Pakistan is concerned, it's everything on the table. I'll stop here.
Thank you so much, General Dushyant Singh. General Rajiv Narayanan, you know the topic, sir. I'd like to hear from you. Your viewers would love to hear from you, and I'll leave the floor to you, sir, and then we'll have some follow-up questions. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, I am in complete agreement with what both Gen Shankar and Gen Dushyant have said, but I have a add-on take to it. When it's not just Pak China, you have to be wary of the US and the West also.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So we should not lose focus, as they say, Shatru Bodh. We have to be clear on Shatru Bodh. Who are your enemies? At the present moment, what is happening? Thanks to US and its tariff war, EU is leaning towards you. So when we talk of RIC, C, EU may not be that comfortable with, but we should look at how we can develop our relations apart from RIC with EU. So that is one thing which we have to work on. Because the tariff war is actually militarizing geoeconomics. So let us work on the geoeconomics part also with Europe. And like General Dushyant said, at the moment, whatever we do with them has to be transactional. China, yes, there is intense churning going on. But what we need to consider is whenever these leaderships have been in trouble within China, they have tried to externalize their issues, internal challenges, always. And at the present moment, even if we look beyond 62, 67 and 87, and Galwan and Eastern Ladakh, they have a very large would say footprint within India, and they have been doing influence operations quite effectively. So they have their own coterie of sympathizers within India. That is already there. We are still, like Gen Dushyant had said, we are still trying to work out our influence operations within that area. Pakistan, yes, its descent into chaos is going, but it will externalize. I entirely agree with the two generals. And what has been noticed when you see that it externalizes every time it receives some funding. So now that he is sitting in the US lap and they're talking of IMF and World Bank releasing, yes, he'll try to externalize. And you have a chaotic and declining Bangladesh to the east. who would like to cozy up with the Pakistanis and the Chinese also to do something within our country. So none, whether you look at Pakistan, whether you look at US, yes, they don't posit a conventional threat as yet, but they can pose increasing border tensions. You can create problems in our neighborhood, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Maldives, who are generally neutral or with you, to rise anti-India sentiments out there. Our internal fissures are there for them to tap. In a way, you see, US cannot afford another Op Sindoor on Pakistan. Maybe they are worried that if there is another phase 2 of Op Sindoor in Pakistan, Pak Army may lose control. The loss of face would be maybe enormous. So they can use internal fissures and try to create problems with their own sympathizers within India. So then you can't say that it is being done from somebody outside. And we have to look at all these things coming as a single front, a collusive single front. You see, the US and the West are scared of your rise. Why are they scared of your rise? Because your rise is not dependent on them. You're not taking money from them for your rise. So he can't squeeze you. You stand for strategic autonomy. You suddenly, Op Sindoor, like General Shankar has said, suddenly has the maximum benefit that has come up, whether you take geopolitically, strategically, has been India. Out and out. Now, that is what they are scared of, that here is a rising India which has come onto the table, and you're not even asking their permission, should I come onto the table? You have come onto that table, and you are, they don't know what to do with you. Strategic autonomy, and we are talking of voice of global south. So they have excellent cat spots available. The Chinese and the Pakis are there to do their bidding. And it will be done. It will be done. That is what is the immediate threat that I see, is this internal threat using our fissures, internal sympathizers. And they have their beat available in certain states available. Like we spoke about Turkey. We should not forget the kind of influence they still have in their old Nizam's territory. They still have their footprints out there. So that is what I find, is that it is not just China, Pakistan, which is a collusivity coming together. And we should never discount Pakistan, because they have a whole lot of sympathizers available in all sections of the society. Can we forget Diljit Dosanjh, the latest case? His movie is a big hit in Pakistan today. It's become a box office hit, Sardarji 3. And that is how they will do it, so that to us to avoid Op Sindoor. No? What is your messaging in Op Sindoor? That if there is a terror attack from across the border, I will hit you. So if there is a sort of a issue staged by people within the country themselves, there is not going to be an Op Sindoor. It's your internal problem. That is the kind I look at, which is the major threat which is coming. It's a single front. Both China and Pak will be there. They will make use of Bangladesh, and quite a lot of funding and influence is going to come from the US and the West. Because it is not just it's the geoeconomic shift which is happening. This chap, Martin Stopford, he had written on maritime trade in 2009, and he had conceptualized a phase called the West Line, the shifting of the center of gravity of maritime trade. Starting from the Indian Ocean, it started going west, went up to Europe, came to USA, as it turned west, it has come towards China and the Western Pacific, and now it is shifting back into the Indian Ocean, and it is shifting to Europe. So Thucydides trap does not only mean openly fighting in today's terms. This is what is the Thucydides trap that they would like to get us into, which will be a major internal threat, weaken you internally. That does not discount that something may not happen on the border.
Yes.
So that is where you have got to be very careful in the near term that you strike a balance between your economic development needs and your security forces need. I say security forces because both your internal and external security forces need capability development and modernization. You showed them a set of goals in Op Sindoor. Now create a new set of goals. General Shankar said that they did not use that capacity. They were fighting the Kargil war. They thought it would be something like that. It didn't happen. You made a new set of goalposts. Now he's going to plan for this goalpost that should you do that, this will be the goalpost, shift the goalpost. And for that, you require your funding, modernization, capability development, and speed in capex. Speed in capex, which is what is lacking. I'm happy that the government is talking about reducing the procurement cycle from which is today around 6-7 years to 2 years. I hope it comes through. So I'll end here.
Thank you so much, General Rajiv Narayanan. Let's get back to General Ravi Shankar. General Ravi Shankar, we talk about internal threats, fixing those things, but typically the armed forces don't get involved in trying to contain the internal threats. At least in India, I have not seen that happen. Although now in the United States, some of it is happening here. Do you think that that should be the role of the armed forces?
Look, I have a difference of view to say when you say the internal armed forces don't get involved in the internal health of India. If been involved, Kashmir won't be where it is without the armed forces. What's happening in the northeast? Don't compare what's happening in USA with our armed forces. Our armed forces have been there when it is required, right? And let's not have any doubts. Only thing is, in certain areas where there's only a political approach required, when there is probably a internal way of doing things, internal security through the police, to your other agencies, covert agencies, that's a different ball game. And there the army doesn't have the tools to do it, and the army is not the best instrument to do it. But in certain places, the army is there. So we shouldn't. And the army has a role to control the internal situation. And we've done it far more effectively than what's happening in USA. I mean, I would like to put this on record. I mean, all three of us have been in this business, not now, right from the 70s. And we've grown up doing this. And we still continue to talk of this. And we keep advising various levels in the armed forces about this. So I think that's not an issue. But I want to touch on a few issues which have come up, because when I gave out anything, I just gave a matrix out. Let me clarify. When I talk of RIC, why am I talking of RIC? I'm talking of the RIC because today the overarching threat is actually from USA. Not Pakistan, not China. The overarching threat is from USA. And at the same time, you have a strategic partnership with USA. How do you play that? That's the duality of USA which has come up. It's not as if we didn't have this duality. We've always had this duality ever since I can remember. So why am I talking of RIC? RIC is not something which you're going to invest in. RIC is a card we have to play. How do you play that is an issue. We don't, how deep you want to be with the Chinese is something. Like what General Dushyant said, they'll never stand up to any treaty or agreement or everything. They'll violate everything. So we have to go into this with eyes open and play it smart. You have to play it smart. And you have to also use Russia in this when I say RIC. Otherwise, Russia by itself, you might find it a little hesitant to come forward. Because today, Russia itself is in position where it can only do that much and no more because of Ukraine, the pull it has, the linkages between Trump and Putin and all that. So that's it. Now let's get back to Pakistan. Immediacy of threat. The immediate threat is something which you have to scotch. Now you know this ostrich is coming at you. You have to kill it. How do you kill it? Do you kill it by military methods? If you do it by military methods, you will get the same results. So you have to start the non-military methods. And it's high time we started being aggressive about it and you take the initiative. For example, you know, this chap, Asim Munir, keeps talking only of Kashmir, Kashmir, Kashmir. Let's join battle and say, let's also talk of Kashmir. We don't talk of Kashmir. Why don't we talk of POK? Why don't we start, you have to put the ball back in his court. And this is something which I've been talking of for a long time. In any case, it's a stated policy to take it back. It's a stated policy which your foreign minister last month said, or any discussion on Kashmir will be only about POK. That's the policy of your prime minister also. So let's actualize it. Let's actualize it. That fellow has spoken there. Let's go to the LC and start talking of it. Everyone in Kashmir has to start talking of it. And you have to turn the tide there. Okay. Then Balochistan. Whatever is happening in Balochistan and Waziristan and all, anyway, there's an injunction on India. So if there's an injunction in India, like he said, we are giving moral support, political support, and all those support. Let's also start giving. Who's stopping you from giving the political support and moral support to them? I mean, and we say to our brethren in Balochistan and to our brethren in Waziristan, who's stopping us? Why are we shy of doing this? He is not shy of doing it. You want to be shy of doing it? And when you do this, USA or anyone doesn't have a leg to stand on. Okay. The third, that's Pakistan, dealing with Pakistan. And you do that and you do that across POK, China will get the message because they've got a lot of commitments in Balochistan, in Gilgit-Baltistan. You have to play this game the way it is being played. Part of the thing is I said, look, you can't play the game like the earlier one. Let's play a new game. What is a new game? Iran. Iran today is friendless. Iran has got no way out. He's stuck. You see any analysis on Iran, he's end-played. He's isolated, he's weak, he's got nothing. Is there a case for us to have an outreach to Iran? After all, we have an investment in Chabahar. Everyone knows it. Everyone accepts it. Even the Americans accept it. It is in the interest of Americans that you open a channel to Iran. Why don't you start doing that? I mean, we've already done that. I mean, when I say this thing, I'm just putting the point across. Our Prime Minister has already spoken to their President, Mr. Pezeshkian. And we have to take this forward. There's space. What about Middle East? Just think what's happening in the Middle East. With Iran going the way it has gone and no other influence there, complete Middle East, right from Mediterranean to Strait of Hormuz, is now under American influence. Are the Middle East states happy with this? So don't you have space there? So you have a whole lot of space out there which you can put in. And I think this is something which we have to start. Geoeconomics, that's what General Rajiv said. Geoeconomics, we have to start playing this geoeconomics game. What about East Asia? East Asia is ripe for the taking, whether it is Philippines, South Korea, Japan, Taiwan, Vietnam, all. Right? Even in Indonesia. Today, I mean, we all know there's a seminar going on in Indonesia which went on a review of whole this, where our DA has spoken what he has spoken. But what beyond that? Do you have a plan for East Asia? So there the openings are huge. Again, it goes against China and it cuts into USA. And people will be happy to come because at some level, all these nations are also feeling the heat of USA. They also want a hedge out. Now, there's this nice country called North Korea. We're not focused on it at all. North Korea tickles everyone like nothing else. Okay, and incidentally, we have good relations with them. They trust us. You see, which is our biggest factor? Trust. Why are we not using it? So we are in a new game, like what General Rajiv said, and I agree, and what General Dushyant also intoned. India has come is in a different pedestal after both these wars. Your economy is still the fastest growing economy. Everyone's economy is contracting or stagnating. You're growing. Your military has proved itself. Others are disproving themselves. Right? You're a power which is there, and everyone is uncomfortable with it. That's why they don't talk of you. Also, it's a fact. So if that is the case, let's behave like a power. But you don't have to be overt. You don't have to be covert also. But you seep under the carpet. And of course, you have to build your own stuff. You have to build your own sinews, right? You have to put more into defense. You have to more into capabilities. You have to put more into the ability to just putting money is of no value. Anyone can throw money. Money is a fool's game. But do you get capability out of that money? That's a $1 million question. Do you have the capability to spend that money? That's a $1 million question. I think those needs reforms, which General Dushyant was mentioning. Is our government thinking of those lines? I'm sure they're thinking. I'm not just thinking. All I'm saying is I'm putting across all these issues to everyone. Right? Yeah. I think I'll stop here and we can take it up with others.
General Dushyant Singh, one question for you, sir. The communication part. I don't want to blame just the Modi government, but as a rule, Indian government tends to not communicate enough, in my opinion. In United States, we are used to seeing a press conference almost every day. And that's how some of the failings of the Biden administration came out. And we can agree with it or not agree with it. But at least there is somebody pointing out what the government has done and how it helps the people. Why are we still shy of even letting the people know the good things that we are doing to the people? So you're muted. Sir. Yeah.
Ayerji, I think that's a question which has been plaguing me since I have been in the service. That's over 40 years now. 40 years of service and then 5-6 years of retired life. There are two major reasons why I think we are still trapped in. You can't call it a Thucydides trap, but you can say that this is a trap self-imposed by us of being too conscious of security. I think that has been something which has been taken to its extreme end. Although in the middle there was some kind of a reform done where we downgraded certain issues to a lower classification. But what we have done is that whatever lower classifications which we did, we actually started applying the higher values to those lower classifications. So somewhere we have not been able to get out of this thing that we cannot share things freely if it is in the government department. So the mistakes or the major omissions which I felt and which our study there was a study group which we had ordered which felt that strategic communication is one area I think we have absolutely failed. If we say that our international narrative was not good, it is partly we are to be blamed for it. If you do not empower the defense attaches of the various of India and the various countries, how are they going to brief? Or the ambassador, if you don't have the kind of confidence in the defense attaches, at least give that piece of information to your ambassador so that they are able to come out in the public and talk about it on international media. Somehow we find this thing missing. We have also recommended that there should be a daily briefing irrespective of whether there is a war going or not going on, whether it is the briefing by the MEA, briefing by the MOD, 5 o'clock briefing or 6 o'clock briefing. There should be a combined briefing done every day, however small the matter may be. People start looking forward to it. The media will start basing their narrative based on what has been told. If you are not told anything in the media will conjure its own kind of story and play it out to the public gets half baked information, fake information, sometimes distorted information. So I fully agree with you. I think this is one area worse than our capability building or defense production or defense acquisition. This is one area where I think we are blind spotted. Let me tell you, we are blind spotted. And I couldn't agree more on this issue, that this needs an urgent attention of everyone. And I think people are waking up to it. And the second area linked to this communication is our hesitancy to slip down. That means I have always been advocating a group of people or a group of experts, group of officials who specialize in who can be considered as black strategists. There are good strategists. We've got very good strategists. Why not have black strategists who have the expertise to operate in a manner that they are not seen yet the effects are seen on the ground wherever we want them to be seen. I think this particular need is required in all our departments. Unless so there is some kind of a red teaming etc going on, people are trying to do it, but I think that is not the answer. The answer is, how can we exploit the non-contact gray zone to actually achieve our aims? Why are we shy? Let me tell you, if you grow, then people will be there to cut your leg. And if we are growing, merely growing is not enough. To ensure that this growing up and the growth path is hindrance free, you got to have all the tricks in your bag. And one of the tricks in your bag is to have these black strategists. They have to be there, they have to be working remotely, nobody should see them, all those things. And I'm being very open about it. Yeah, if somebody has any objection to it, that we are losing out on our high moral standing or high table diplomacy etc, I think that's all bunkum. We have to have everything what others are doing. If you just don't do it yourself, ultimately you will be, imagine, a poet who is supposed to be our national poet, who died long time back, Ramdhari Singh Dinkar. He said, क्षमा सोबती उस भुजंग को जिसके पास गरल हो, उसको क्या जो विषहीन, दंतहीन, विनीत और सरल हो. The meaning is that pardon is only the strong can pardon. A person or a country or an organization or a person who is weak, who is toothless, who is wishless, is like who doesn't have any poison in him, and he's always soft and he's polite. Nobody will listen to him. So we need to have the poison in us. We need to have the teeth in us, and that can only come with hard power and black power both. I would end here.
Thank you so much, General Dushyant Singh. General Rajiv Narayanan, I have a question for you. This is a little bit probably, it might get under the skin for some people. Why is India getting 8 Snickers and a knack into a knot when Asim Munir is invited for a private lunch with Trump? Why did it offend us? Or that Zoran Mamdani, I think, this guy says Modi is this thing, Modi should be. Why are you bothered? Sir, I am the only channel on record to say that Zoran is not going to be, it's not going to be so easy to become the New York City mayor. And the kind of opposition he is looking at. Sir, why should India get so bothered about what others are telling about it? You got your own things to do. Why don't, for example, there's a golden opportunity coming up. No Putin, no Xi Jinping, Maidan saaf hai. Let Modi go on a charm offensive in Brazil. That's a place that India hasn't really put a lot of roots. Brazil has the fastest growing Hindu community.
Yes.
Your thoughts, sir?
Yes. So I'll start with the first point that you made. It is an extension of what General Dushyant said, and I call it cognizant warfare.
Yes.
Cognizant warfare is something where we have never paid any attention to, which includes both white and black strategy. How do you control the narrative, control the perception, how you do psyops? Then you would not have, like a lot of people had ants in their pants. I am also very surprised that for what? Trump calls Asif Munir, let him call him. Did a prime minister have ants in his pants? No. When Trump spoke to him, he gave him his point of view, which Trump may not have liked it, so be it. That is how mature nations function. Unfortunately, our so-called armchair experts, they're not that mature. They suddenly jump on small issues. This has happened, that has happened. You will see your social media getting flooded on all these issues and on Mamdani and all these characters. And I entirely agree with you. He's just won a primary for the Democratic Party, and you are having ants in pants as if he's won the mayorship. In the elections, I'm sure he's going to face 2, 3, or 4 candidates who are going to, at least 2, if not 3 candidates will stand against him. And then we will see how the people of New York vote. I'm sure people of New York are not fools, and they also know how this chap has spoken about. Yes. In fact, in one of my talks, as far as BRICS is concerned, that was one of the points I had said why Xi Jinping is not going there. Is because the only person whom Lula has called for a state dinner is Modi. Not Putin is giving a video talk. This chap is not even giving a video talk. He's telling his Li Chang, whom Li Chang himself doesn't know that by the time he goes back, will he be there in chair or not? Right. So I agree with you, and I'm sure the homework is going on because Brazil has said no to BRI. So the field is open. In fact, Brazil has openly offered that a joint aviation development of their Embraer in India and Brazil to join hands for making Embraer. The moment Boeing had a problem in tariff war in the US that it would not be able to compete with Airbus, Embraer reached out to you. And I'm sure something will come out of it. So we have always got to remember, which our people tend to forget. Flag follows the silver, and that is why I'm giving importance to geoeconomics. Silver is geoeconomics. The moment you have your geoeconomics in place, the geopolitics and geostrategy, everything gets into place, and that is where the flag comes in. If you don't get your geoeconomics in place, the flag doesn't come there, cannot come there. And that is the reason I say, yes, geoeconomics with Russia and China, geoeconomics with Europe. The moment you got it done, USA will start feeling isolated. कि ये क्या हो गया? World island to India ले गया. So geoeconomics is very important because the moment you wean away and you have let's just say you have a geoeconomics with Europe, then the only person you have to contend with who's going to finance Pakistan to create trouble, China of course will join the bandwagon, is the US. But a lot of things that are done in the IMF and World Bank are also controlled by Europeans. We should never forget that just before Munir landed in the US and had his lunch with Trump, FATF, which is the president is the Mexican lady and the vice president is a Canadian. This was around the time when the G7 meeting was on. Yes. They gave a warning to Pakistan that the trail of Pahalgam comes to you, which was also a warning to Trump that handsome, you're having chat with a person where the trail leads to him, terror trail leads to him. So what happens if tomorrow, let us say August, they have slotted for discussion in the FATF What happens in September? Pakistan is grey listed. That is the end of his Bitcoin deal. That is the end of Recording. That is the end of IMF funding. That is the end of World Bank funding. There are ways and means to get things done, which are people at the moment. Yes, well, we have not been doing it. Now quietly our MEA and others are doing it. So people are strategists are not on board. So they get worked up on various issues. I'll stop here.
Thank you so much, sir. I have very fond memories of vacationing in Brazil. Very, very small town, and it's like a peninsula. It was built by the French. Believe it or not, French tried to colonize Brazil too. And so there you find vestiges of French culture, Portuguese, as well as the native Brazilian culture. In all these things, and Brazil eats meat. By default, they eat meat. So if you are a vegetarian, you have some challenges in terms of finding food. And they speak Portuguese. If you don't know Spanish, you are going to be in a lot of trouble. English doesn't go. People don't speak. I mean, this is a very small village. But what I found fascinating, viewers, was there was a store that does video rentals, and the name of the store was Ganesha, with a proper Vinayaka in the front. And I'm like, what the heck? This is 20 years ago, and since then, I'm sure Brazil has come a lot more, progress a lot more. It's a beautiful country. You can actually rent a car there. There are some limitations though. But what I'm trying to say is it's a great place to go. Amazon rainforest. For if you were thinking of vacationing, Brazil is a great place. Also, sir, in the Western Hemisphere, the best Bos Indicus breed of cows, which traces it back to India, you can find them in Brazil. From Brazil, they are finding their way up into North America. I have what is called as Jivamrutam. This is a fertilizer. And I have used the Bos Indicus dung and urine and a few other ingredients to make my own fertilizer. I mean, India has a surfeit of cows. You don't need to go far to get your own internal fertilizer industry going. And they have proven to be just as good as chemical-based fertilizers. Experiments were done, and you just need to use it the same way, in fact. What I'm trying to say is, this is going back to Kabir Ka Doha, and then we'll take questions, sir. Kasturi kundal basaye, mrug donde ban mahi, jaise ghat ghat ram hai, dunya dekhe nahi. We know what is needed for us. Let's find that and let's thrive from that. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Let's take some questions now. Oh, I think my editor is on a break. Let me get the thing rolling. General Ravi Shankar, Subramaniam Kanapadi wants to know, can you make a program on Vision 2020 versus actual achievements and reason why certain visions were not achieved and lessons learned? That would be helpful in the Viksit Bharat 2047. This is not in topic, so if one of you want to take a shot at it.
No, I think we'll look. Let me put it.
Make a program on that separately.
Yeah,
let's do that. Look at it separately. Yeah.
Yeah. Next question. Again, General Ravi Shankar. Akash Krishan Tadani wants to know, all said and done, we live in interesting times. How about Bharat taking claim on Kailash Mansarovar complex and Kailash range south for a start? GB, Aksai-Chin and the rest can follow later. General Ravi Shankar.
Look, Kailash Mansarovar is separate. Kailash range is anyway part of your claim. That's part of Aksai-Chin. Right? So there's no question of Kailash range is not part of your claim. You should start. Why should you not talk of Aksai-Chin? You should talk. Why not GB? You should talk. Kailash Mansarovar has different connotations. But I don't mind. I mean, something where we have to be proactive. That's what I said. You have to be proactive. As simple as that. That's what the whole story today is coming out. You have to start thinking differently and you have to be proactive. How you want to do it is your choice.
This is directed specifically at General Narayanan. Vishnu Gopi wants to know, can we match China in missile arsenal when it comes to numbers? How do we compare with other missile powers?
I always say in missiles, your quality is more important than quantity. There is already a question mark on the Chinese arsenal, missile arsenal. That's how the entire top level structure of the rocket force had all been sacked. They've all been purged. Because we had done the talk on the gunner shot itself, and we had discussed about these where the missiles went awry, When Nancy Pelosi had come, it had to go to Taiwan. It went and landed in the economic zone of Japan. And when they tested it after 1 year, they fired it towards the east and it went west. And in Hebei province near Beijing, in a village, in the apartment block, it went and blew up. So they have a problem. That's why quality is very, very, very important. You may have a missile arsenal in quantity, and if it is not going where you want it to go, then what's the use? And what did we use in our Op Sindoor? Your missiles and precision at less than 1 meter. Look at how Noor Khan, that structure was demolished. You hit precisely that ventilation shaft at 600 kilometers range. You fired from inside 600 kilometers range, it has gone your BrahMos and hit the shaft. So never compare. It's not a linear equation. You have 100 people and that chap has 1,000. You're not fighting a linear battle ever. So
thank you so much, sir. Next question to General. Did you want to add to that, General Ravi Shankar or Dushyant Singh?
No.
This is for General Dushyant Singh. No, hold on 1 second.
Go ahead.
My editor has come back and there is some resetting going on. Sachin, please just continue from this point forward. I've cleaned up everything that has been answered so far. Technology, thank you so much. Dushyant Singh, General Dushyant Singh, can you show an escalation ladder and war scenario against China? Love what you generals are doing for India, even at this age. Thank you. What age? They are all 60 years young. Come on, we are all old. Sir.
Yeah, it's possible. It's possible, but should we do it? Should we do it in the open domain? Is something which we are already doing these kind of things. We'll have to look at. I'm also the victim of the Official Secret Act, so I can't promise you, but I can definitely I can definitely ask Gen Shankar and Gen Narayanan to do so if they wish to. But this is being done.
Official
Just be rest assured that this kind of an exercise is being done, and people are drawing lessons from it. One thing which I would like to add here is that if you compare these human skills, at least of the soldier level, it is the Indian soldier who stands out the best today. Not because of technology, it's because the way we actually conduct or go into battle, and the way we train our people, the way we skill our people, that is a tremendous advantage. So quantity, yes, matter. This is the answer to the addition to what General Narayanan had said, that numbers is something else. How do you use those numbers is what is important.
General Ravi Shankar and I had a conversation a couple of years ago about conducting joint exercises with, like, for example, China, and he explained how the team that represents India is selected, and then how the Chinese described how their team is selected. Please go back and watch that. That tells volumes. Let's go to the next question, General Ravi Shankar. Akshay here. Thank you so much, Akshay. Major Madan Kumar said, this is for you, General Ravi Shankar. Major Madan Kumar said, new terror sites are coming up in POJK forest with radar, satellite, and thermal masking. In UP, 20 sacks of ammunition caught. Your view, sir?
Look, these will happen. I said at the beginning only that they are doing something on the LOC, the terror infrastructure is coming back up and all. So we'll handle it. These are normal things which we are trained to handle. And this 20 sacks of ammunition caught in UP is also part of the story which we've discussed, that our threat is internal. So we have to start focusing on that. As simple as that, nothing more.
Kannan R wants to know, a weaker Iran is an advantage to Pakistan or disadvantage? General Dushyant Singh.
A weaker Iran is an advantage to Pakistan or disadvantage? I would say it's a disadvantage to Pakistan, because Pakistan has not been able to handle Afghanistan. I don't know how it is going to handle Iran, which goes into the hands of a ruling dispensation which is not able to control Iran. So where will be the inflow? Outflow.
There's a wonderful article in dawn about this issue, I would suggest everyone go. It's there in today's dawn. Have a look at it.
Next question to General Rajiv Narayanan. Aryan Lakhani, thank you so much. Why tactical flaw after 15-day prep in Sindoor?
What tactical flaw is he asking about?
Yeah, Aryan, you may want to expand on your question. Sir, let's go on to the next question. I'll stay with you, General Rajiv Narayanan. Next question, please. Pradeep Tumati wants to know, if Chinese weapons are as bad as what we have seen in Op Sindoor, can China even defend Tibet against an aggressive Indian invasion? General Rajiv Narayanan.
Why do you want to invade? Firstly, get hold of the territory. Yeah, I always find fascinating people coming up and asking of expanding your territories. जो है अपने पास पहले उसको तो sort out करके संभाल लो पहले यार. There are enough problems that we have on our hands in the territory that we hold at present within your borders. Why are you looking at expanding immediately, attacking? He's weak, so I attack and I do this. We are not back in the 17th, 18th, 15th, 16th century की बगल वाला ये राजा बोलता है कि वो राजा वीक है तो मैं अभी हमला करके मैं उसके ऊपर कब्जा कर लूंगा. We are in a different world. Let us sort ourselves out. And let Tibet become independent in its own time. हो जाएगा.
Next question, please. Truth Seeker, thank you so much. General Ravi Shankar, counter China 100 to 500 years, Earth, Moon, Mars basis?
Well, look, I don't know whether you're being sarcastic about the whole affair or what, but Truth Seeker, I must tell you that you have to smell the tea leaves. Okay, what's happening in China? And China might be going down faster than we imagine. That's all I'll say. And it has repercussions. It has geoeconomic repercussions. It's got geopolitical repercussions and a whole lot of other issues. I don't think we are prepared for what's happening in China.
Oh, viewers, I have to tell you this. I have been hitting some stores because I'm getting ready for my next trip to India. And then I usually have a list of shopping things. Need to buy this equipment, this equipment, this equipment. First week after the tariffs announcement, prices did go up 10 to 20% on electronics. Electronics prices going up is a rarity in United States because every sale price today is a regular price tomorrow. This has been going on for 30 years. What I'm noticing is last couple of weeks, prices have dropped and they have dropped below what the prices were before Trump took office. Something is going on. I'll tell you a little bit later once I've got a slightly broader study of all the stuff to tell you that there is something going beyond my comprehension at least. So let's go to the next question. This is for General Dushyant Singh. Meera Srikanth, thank you so much for becoming YouTube number. Sir, stay on, sir. Thought Provocateur, thank you so much. Why don't we go for permanent solutions to issues like Pakistan, Bangladesh and keep the issues unsolved, allowing elements like Munir to take advantage of? General Dushyant Singh.
Well, again, I think the answer lies in what Gen Rajiv Narayanan told about the previous question. Look, we are finding solutions within the requirements which the country has as of today. There may be something called stated and something called unstated. I will leave this answer to that. We have to be prepared for the consequences of permanent solution. What is your view of permanent solution? Is it taking POJK with you, or is it something else? So we have to see as to what is the permanent solution, define that permanent solution. To my mind, the permanent solution to this entire situation, whether it is Bangladesh or Pakistan, would be that for the next 20 years or so, which is left with us, we should be growing at speeds which are more than 7 to 8%. And these problems will automatically get subsumed. To do that, we do only that much. Moment you get into a warlike situation with every country around you, you are creating problems for yourself. And I hope you do not meet the same fate as what happened in other parts of the world where wars have actually destroyed nations. We need to do that much as what is enough and necessary.
Next one, please. Then this is for General Rajiv Narayanan. Can any of you gentlemen explain? This is for you, General Rajiv Narayanan. Why DRDO cannot make an ergonomically good-looking rifle? Everything they make looks like AK or Iron SAS. Why can't they design one that is futuristic? General Rajiv Narayanan.
They've just done one where for the CQB. Have a look at it. Indian Army has taken it. DRDO has designed it, and another company has made it, and that has come as the L1, which is going to be bought. Have a look at the shape and design. It's ergonomically very good look.
Hey, enlightened soul, let me tell you something. Russian equipment is boxy, clunky, and big. But you know what? It works.
It works.
So the
It works.
most
And it
what
it
all
works in a mud, I mean dug out mud and under 4 feet of earth. When you take it out, Maro 2-3 pull throughs and it starts working. So I think we have done the right thing by going to AK-203. You will find that there will be a sea change in our activities.
the first lot of 50,000 have just been delivered to the Indian Army,
Absolutely.
and they'll
Absolutely.
start delivering. One of the most robust and the best weapon design is the AK, the Kalashnikov. I've worked with it in the valley. I always used to have an AK-56, and that's it. That is one of the best I found. Like what General Dushyant said,
Yeah.
put any place, you put it under water, take it out, just remove the water, dry it, little bit of oiling with your pull through, and it's ready to fire. Just have no problems. Try that with any of the Western equipment.
Prasad wants to know, this is for General Ravi Shankar. Where is India positioned when it comes to weaponization of space? The so-called Wrath of God system as well as the so-called Iron Dome are scary. Your thoughts?
Look, we are well ahead of in space. It's like, look, this weaponization of space is not separate from exploitation of space. It's a seamless thing. You must understand that we are one of the 4 top countries who has assets in space, and you have the capability to go to space. To a large extent, we have already weaponized it in our own way. But we are now on the threshold of changing into clear weaponization in the armed forces. Again, it's not a thing which is going to happen overnight. It's going to take time. There are clear plans on the table, and I'm sure things will work out well. So don't worry. This Wrath of God system, Iron Dome, and all, are good words, but actually, what happens is quite different. People don't understand. Iron Dome is only meant for low-level air defense. It's not meant for anti-ballistic missiles. So these are all different kind of things. A lot of these cliches and jargon, everyone feels that's the big thing. It's not. We need to go from first principles to understand all these things. I'll leave it at that.
Next question, please. General Dushyant Singh, if Pakistan is made totally defunct in terms of its arms, will there still be a war? Can India not make magnets?
Look, this is a hypothetical situation that Pakistan is made totally defunct in terms of arms. First of all, if that happens, Pakistan will cease to exist. And if Pakistan ceases to exist, then we will have a lot of problems on our own hand to control this particular region. You have Afghanistan, which is just on a very delicate balance. You're talking already of Iran getting some kind of instability coming there. You have Pakistan with another instability. Who will walk in? Chinese? I don't think so. So therefore, there will be a region which will become a huge problem for us. We should try to let Pakistan, and I keep telling this every time on every show, usko liquid oxygen mein rakho. Na jeene do, na marne do. Right? That is the best situation for us. Keep it busy on the western front of Pakistan. Try to limit your problems on our borders. I think we will grow smoothly to our aim of having a very strong geoeconomics.
Manohar Vedantam wants to know, this is for General Rajiv Narayanan. Probably Trump promised support to Munir against India during White House visit, hence the brazenness in Munir's speech today. Actually, it's the contrary.
The brazenness always comes whenever he gets some funding. And
Delusion and delusion.
Usually it is always that way. We have always got to remember it is the idle mind which makes empty vessels make the most noise. The army was losing a lot of relevance within Pakistan itself. People have been coming out. Now he's on a mission to disprove the thrashing that he has got in Op Sindoor, to get back the relevance. And his brazenness is in the sense, his claim to fame is he's a Hafiz. Hafiz means who has memorized the Quran. He's an Hafiz. And when you relate that, there was a paper written long ago by a brigadier of the Pakistan Army, which they follow, which is called the Quranic concept of war. I'm not surprised that he keeps talking of anything about Allah, quoting from the Quran, the Surah, where the few defeated the many. All that he keeps quoting, which is just a twist of the words that one Pakistani is open to 10 Hindus, equal to 10 Hindus. But then he can never tell that why has he got thrashed in every war that he has taken up with us. One Pakistani can counter 10. Right. So he is desperate for his own survival to get his own name. I don't know how long. He himself may not be knowing how long. While you may say that probably promised support, I would say that he must be pushing him to recognize Israel, because he's wanting to strengthen the Abraham Accord. So where does he leave him in his Ummah? He's already cheated on the Ummah by giving out all those details about Iran and giving those wristwatch where the people got tracked and got killed. So he has to come out, and that is the brazenness of his speech. Don't get carried away by the brazen of the speech. A rant is there, let him rant.
General Ravi Shankar, if Pakistan breaks, can China change its policy towards Bharat for a more peaceful coexistence, with Bharat realizing Bharat also has the same strength militarily as that of China?
Look, if Pakistan breaks, I'll be more worried of Pakistan than China. Okay, then this whole story will change. Pakistan breaking is going to shake up everyone. The first chaps who will get ants up their pants are Americans.
Yes.
Okay. They will be the guys who will really lose everything. It's not Chinese, it will not even Pakistani. Pakistani टूट गया तो उसको क्या फर्क पड़ता है? जो मर जाता है ना उसको, it doesn't matter him where he is. So it's the Americans will go ballistic, and then of course the Chinese. We'll have to handle the whole story. Let it happen.
So what you are hinting is that the funding is Fevicol.
Yeah.
General Dushyant Singh, question to you, sir.
I would say the funding is liquid oxygen.
Funding is liquid oxygen. That's the correct thing.
Milban Cherian wants to know, General Dushyant Singh, do you think the deep state is desperate to create chaos globally to hide all their corruption globally and have been weakened enough now, hence using China and Pakistan and a few other players?
Look, I don't think it is that. They've always been doing this kind of a number of books are there. William Bloom's book is there. So the deep state of all developed nations are at work, whether you call them as Five Eyes, I don't want to name various deep states of various countries. And so their basic job is to ensure that their national interests are met through the black route. So it's nothing new. This kind of a thing will continue. What is happening in Bangladesh? The facade will be humanitarian assistance. There will be something happening below that surface of humanitarian assistance. So Myanmar will be at the receiving end, and China will be the indirect target. So these are things which will continue, and we must learn to live with them and live with them at our own terms.
So
thank you so much, sir. Next question.
I'll just add one point in that if you look at the NGOs which all these people, the Americans and the West,
Yeah.
sponsor and send, it's always the key ones which are there, and into the key target places are always embedded with retired veterans, CIA people, retired CIA people, and the retired military intelligence people and FBI. It's not for nothing that those people are there. It's for conducting those black strategies.
General Ravi Shankar, General Rajiv Narayanan, question for you, sir. Suresh Kumar wants to know what will be the objectives of Operation Sindoor Part 2. Asking this because Pakistan misbehaved last time and India went one step ahead and hit their military targets. General Rajiv.
Your guess is good as mine. I don't dictate the operational issues to the Indian Armed Forces. But Rajnath Singh had openly told the Navy, because Navy was being licked out, that the next phase will be started by the Navy. So that means his ports will go.
Next one, please.
What will be the political or military aims? I can't tell you. I don't make those decisions.
General Ravi Shankar, this is for you, sir. Is Japan's anchor to US shifting? Can India woo their capital, at least, which is now under threat in USA? Their constitution limits war production, but can they get it done in India by investing? General Ravi Shankar.
Japan's anchor from USA will not shift beyond a point. There is some issue, they have an issue, but they'll not let each other go. Okay, it's almost an umbilical kind of a relationship. Can India woo their capital? Yes. Right? If there's one capital we can trust to take, it is Japanese. Because India and Japan have a deep relationship and they've stood by us at our times of need. Right? It is not because they are under threat from USA, but they will like to do it on their own. And we need to leverage it. And this constitutional war production and things like that, they are very careful because they are also careful in the sense that their internal checks and balances are pretty strong. And if they go against their own constitution, the government can get sacked. So it's a dicey thing to play around with. There are issues, but I think there will be better solutions if we have an over-the-table, kind of a conversation with Japan.
Next question, Krishna Kishore to General Dushyant Singh. Why India pays through $3,000 for embassy staff in US and wants J-Shucks? I don't know what that means.
Jai Shankar. Must be Jai
Shankar like talent. Your feedback from all of you.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not exactly aware how much do they get, but what I have interacted very recently, that they get a fairly decent package there, and they also get the residence, etc. Everything is, it's not only 3,000, it's also 3,000 plus residence. So therefore, I think it's quite good enough, and 3,000 is not to everybody across the board. There is a scale. So there are people who get more, and there are people who get less, and so depending on your status, you get what you get, and it is, I think, comparable to the best.
May I add, since I've served in an embassy abroad as a DA, what basically get is your there is a basic normal salary which has been given, and as per your rank when you go out, there is what is known as a foreign allowance. That foreign allowance is based on what the UN gives out, and I think every 2 years they take out their degree of difficulty and expenses of staying in a particular place. The UN takes it out, and based on that, they give out what is known as a foreign allowance. And like General Dushyant had said, the foreign allowance varies as per your rank. So the combination of the two would come out this way. You wouldn't like your embassy staff to be just hand to mouth staying there, because they are representing your country. They've been selected to represent your country. So how they live, the manner in which they conduct themselves represents the country of India. So that is where
I would like to add here just one point. When America was founded, way back to 200 years back, their ambassadors used to sleep on the deck of the ship when they used to go to UK. They realized that their country cannot afford that much amount of money, so they would travel economy, and if there was no space, they would sleep on the deck beds which were there in the ships. So I think we need to be cognizant of the fact that we are getting fairly good amount, and we have all been in foreign countries. At least I was there for 18 months, so I know how much we got. It was quite comfortable.
Next one, please. Aryan Lakhani, thank you so much. CDS said on Bloomberg of tactical mistake on 7th.
Yeah, that was that they did. You may have called it the tactical mistake. Essentially, the orders that were given is you are targeting the terrorist hideouts and not to hit the military targets. So the tactical mistake he claimed was that you did not try to suppress the air defense elements and other things of them. That was the tactical mistake. But that was part of the overall political directions that had been given, that you're going only to target the terrorist network and not the military.
Now we know they are totally embedded, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
that's why that statement, right? Any act of terror is, yeah.
I call them the Pak army and the state actor.
Correct. Next one, please. Kumaresh Ananda, thank you so much. Thought provocateur, thank you so much. Why not balkanize Pakistan instead of just hoping? General Ravi Shankar.
Yeah, we should. That's what I said, no? Give political support, give all kinds of support to them, moral support, everything. That will automatically lead to this. We have to change our track.
Last question. This is to General Dushyant Singh, and feel free to chime in, Generals Rajiv and Ravi Shankar ji. What about counterpoint? Unless we take back our own strategic places from illegal occupation, Viksit Bharat may be difficult and limit for growth without. General Dushyant Singh.
Look, you have to see the kind of setback you will have in case if you start doing this. And if you do a cost-benefit analysis, and I think, this is my view, I may be wrong, that it would be better the other way around and not the way you are trying to get at.
Thank you so much, sir. General Rajiv, would you like to add to that?
Yes, I'll just add that are POK and how are POK and Aksai Ching limiting your growth? Aren't you growing today? Even without them. So how do you say take a point that without them Viksit Bharat will not be there?
Thank you so much. And generally, generals, again, from the bottom of my heart, we went over by about 30 minutes. All of you stayed on. Thank you so much. Viewers, I hope you got your time's worth. And please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Wherever you are watching, whether it is P Gurus or Ganesh Shot or Claus, all of us would appreciate your feedback by way of comments. Thank you once again, Generals. Namaskar.
Thanks a lot.
Namaskar. Namaskar.